All right, so that crow is all the way up. Okay, so I'm walking to my car real quick. Y'all hear that crow in the background? Matter of fact, let me walk this way. Try to walk the shortcut way. So, I was having a conversation. I was talking to the Lord, y'all. And I was talking about like my whole situation and what went down and everything. And the Lord showed me something about myself. And I'm like, how can I say? I don't know if y'all can hear me. But he was, I was sitting up here like, Lord, I didn't do anything wrong. And the Lord had pointed something out about my video when I was ranting about court and how we are supposed to forgive. And I'm like, okay, well, I forgive. But he showed me, like, far as my actions, yeah, you may have told the truth. And I feel like sometimes when we go through certain things, we just, we're human. And so we may say things that we really don't mean to say, but we're just so frustrated that, you just say the things that's on your mind. So I started to think to myself, I'm like, Lord, what would you have done? Then I thought about the Lord when he got prosecuted, when they hung him on that cross, when they hurt him, and instead of him saying, God, please demolish them all. I mean, if he wanted to, he could have just slaughtered them all. Instead, he said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And then I started saying, like, well, Lord, they know what they did. But then then the Lord said to me, well, what does the commandments of a husband and wife is supposed to do? Well, and we all know that it says, husband, love your wives as Christ loved the church. And I'm like, but he didn't do that. But it also commands, too, that wives be submissive to your husbands. And I'm like, well, how can I do that? Because I'm doing his will. But at the same time, it's basically still having respect. Even if it's the end of the road. Even if it's the end of the rope. Even if at that point in time, y'all will not be together, it's still having respect. And so I felt like, wow, I'm not entitled to, yes, I feel like what goes around will come around, but I have to learn how to use my words wisely and not use them to cut. I do feel like everybody does have a breaking point, but it's how we carry ourselves in it. And so I was sitting up here trying to figure out, like, humility. Like, what is humility? Does it mean like you're humiliated, embarrassed? So I started actually like looking up the definition behind humility. If anyone can post in your comment of what you think humility means. I heard a preacher say, when you think of yourself less, in a way, like you feel like you're not entitled to something, that's when humility comes. I guess at that point when I was having this conversation with the Lord, I just felt like, you know what, you're right, Lord. I wasn't, I was in my flesh, I was in my feelings, and I was just venting all over the place. And that's not right. That's not Christian-like. And when I said, well, what would you do, Jesus? And then when I thought about what the Lord went through, I'm like, I'm unworthy. Like, I'm not even worthy. like y'all remember those things when it be like, what would Jesus do? And I'm like, dang, Lord, like, they prosecuted you. Some of your disciples turned their backs on you, and yet you still love them. And I'm sitting up here ramping and going crazy because what I feel like wasn't right and wasn't fair to what my husband had did to me. But God, in that sense, has showed me that no matter what people do to you, it's all on how you react towards it. You don't step out of character, and you always, if you prayed about the situation, you always humble yourself about it and bring it before the Lord so that he may do his works in it. And I know, because like I said, my last video, I was going off. But I just feel like, okay, Lord, I get it. I understand. So lately I've been looking at the definitions of humility. Like, cuz I don't feel like I'm entitled to everything. But sometimes we do get up there like, you owe me this and you owe me that and you owe me this and you owe me that, and then fine, I'm not going to, whatever, I don't care. Or, I say I forgive, but do I really forgive? Because if you really forgive, you would not feel like you have the mentality like, man, F them. Like, I don't care. You should have a mentality of, let's live in peace. Okay, good. So the Lord was speaking to me about that. And I realized, like, you know what, you're right, Father. I should never step out of line with it. And yes, till the end, I am still supposed to have respect for this particular person, not only because I did marry them, but that is the father of my child. And I would never talk bad about him to Symphony. I'll never do that. But at the same time, there is a certain way and form in church, out of church, in line, out of line, that we ought to carry ourselves regardless. Yeah. So I guess now I'm understanding what humility is. At first I thought, well, does it mean that somebody humiliated you? Or does it mean like you're embarrassed by something? I guess I understand that it means that you're not entitled to what you think you're entitled to, should I say? And that we should always humble ourselves before the Lord. In the scripture, the Bible says, humble yourself before the Lord and he shall lift you up, right? Yeah. But other than that, you guys, God has been good. God is awesome. He is merciful. He is merciful. And so, yeah, so I have to apologize for my last video. I want to still keep that video up just in case people are like, what video are you talking about? But my ramping and going off about with the things that had happened to me, there's a certain way that I could have worded certain things or explained certain things. And there is no really excuse, especially when as a Christian woman, that we all fall short of the glory of the Lord. No one's perfect, but I think moving forward, I need to learn how to perfect my walk with Christ, no matter what people do. And sometimes I feel like, Lord, it's just not fair, but then when he shows me what happened to him, it's just like, well, dang, I'm not as strong as you, Lord, but I'm like, dad, you went through way more worser things than I went through. I mean, I was dragged in court. They dragged you to Calvary, you know what I'm saying? Like, they nailed you to the cross, you know, and even in the midst of your pain and your hurt and your suffering, you still said, forgive them, Father. And then when I go back to my video, I was like, get them, Father. You know, and it's like, okay, I get it, I understand now. So I think I understand what humility means now. At first I didn't understand it. Maybe if you guys are looking at this, you may know more than I may know what the definition of humility is. It's when you humble yourself and realize that you're not entitled to anything. Yes, God blesses, God giveth, and he taketh. And in everything, we are to acknowledge him. No matter if we feel that it's good or bad, we ought to acknowledge him. So I'm learning that. And I think that those are some of the things that should go down, especially as a virtuous woman and a God-fearing man, you know. So I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I think that I still have a long way to go. I still feel like I have I still feel like I have a lot of learning to do too, you know. Because some people, you know, they can, you know, I can't say people make us do things, but as humans, you know, we can tend to wild out. And then we look back and say, man, I let this person get the best of me, that, you know, I said something that's out there. And I didn't have to. I really didn't have to. But yeah, y'all, so that's something that the Lord has showed me. I mean, we had a conversation. I'm like, but wait a minute, Lord. Yes, it does says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church, and for wives to be submissive. But my husband don't want me to do that. But it's like, but this is the commandment that the Lord had gave me. And being submissive, you got to be respectful too, you know. Even if that person is not in alignment with the Lord, you still always be in alignment with them. You just can't give them a bad name, and or, you know what I'm saying, even though it is the truth, but you still have to honor them even when they are doing you wrong. It doesn't mean that you have to cater. You can honor them when you're not around them, but you still don't lose that respect, if y'all understand what I'm saying. And I know some of y'all like, man, forget that. But look at what Jesus did, y'all. Look at what he did. Look at what he did. He was just like, you know, forgive him, Father. And he had the power. He had the power to stop his persecution. He had the power to, he could have went off, you know what I'm saying? And still, he carried himself with such class. And I'm like, Lord, I'm not even worthy. I'm not even worthy, you know what I mean? But yeah. But anyway, other than that, I hope everybody, y'all know Christmas is coming, and I'm so excited. I am. I think this year Symphony is paying attention to things now. That little girl has been jumping like a little hopping bean, but she's paying attention to more things. So you know, I'm looking forward to Christmas this year, just being with friends and family. And I'm looking forward to going into the new year with a fresh start, a fresh mind. Since the last time I've spoken to y'all about going to court, I have not wore my ring, and I don't plan to wear my ring. I don't know if God took, how can I say? I don't know if this is the right thing for me to say, but I think that love has gone now. You know how you care for somebody that you don't want nothing bad to happen to them, but that Cupid love thing is now gone. And I don't know if it's because God removed that, the desire, or if it's because of everything. And I think it is because of all of the things that did happen. And I guess this is what everyone wanted. So now it's like I don't I don't feel that same love for the person that I married years ago. I don't. I used to, and it was a wonderful love. But I just don't feel that anymore. And I'm hoping, because I don't want, I'm trying to say it where y'all could understand me. I don't want to feel like my heart has hardened itself. But I just don't feel like that anymore. It's just like, maybe because the time passed or whatever. So I understand how people move forward and people move through. You know, I was looking at this documentary yesterday. It was these 100-year-old people, like they were in their hundreds, y'all, 103, 102, and they were talking about things that they went through in their life, and some of them outlived their spouses. Like their spouses passed away when they were like in their 60s and 70s, and here they are like 100 years old. And I was listening to this older lady, and she was talking about how she really loved her late husband. Like he was perfect in every way, and she has no regrets. And I was like, oh, good for her, you know. I think everybody has their story. I think my story was that it was 3 years, and I was 3 years, and that was, you know, I thought we had a really good time. But you know, sometimes people grow apart, and then sometimes you have people who come back together, and those are really, really good. I think those are really, really great testimonies. I think that every divorce that ends up in divorce, a first marriage divorce, is very sad. It is. And it gets to the point where I guess your hearts can be hard, because it's not me now that at one point in time, and I'm just, yeah, I don't know, y'all, I'm just sitting here talking. At one point in time, I used to long for my husband. I used to want to be around my husband, and now it's just, no. I don't know. And I remember for the longest time when he left, you know, I kept praying and praying and praying for him to come back. I was like, Lord, please let him see me. Please let him think about me. Please give him a dream. And I used to pray and pray and pray. And then it got to the point where I was just like, Lord, could you just please take the desire away from me wanting to be with my husband? Could you just please remove the desire? And I think that's what happened. I think that it's no longer me wanting him anymore. It's more me just wanting to get past January the 4th of our divorce. I used to be, I was also afraid of the divorce, because I just felt like, to me, it felt like, I don't know, I never been on death row, but it just felt like you were walking the 8 mile. You know, you was just, you gotta walk this long walk, and now you about to be a part of the divorce crew, and the failed marriages, and the what's wrong with you, and why couldn't you have done that? I guess it's the same feeling, not the same feeling, but like when we kept trying to have a baby, I felt like I was a failure, because I wasn't able to carry my daughters full term. I wasn't able to have a baby as easy as another woman, and I felt like, why am I going through that? Like, what's wrong with me? And I desired to give my husband an heir, you know? And then I wanted to be this perfect wife. I wanted to be everything that my husband ever wanted, so he knows that he has a loving wife that loves him, and he'll never have a reason to leave me. And I think too, sometimes, you know, God will look at certain things and see that certain things may not have been right. I don't know. But anyway, so I no longer fear the divorce, because we pretty much divorced. The judge is just going to read it out loud on the 4th. I thought that when we went to court, it was going to crush me, like I was going to have a heart attack or something like that. But no, the Lord was like, Mona, you still going to live after this. And now I don't feel the same way for him like I used to. And I think God did take that desire away, so I can focus on him more, focus on God more. I also, too, one of my good sisters in Christ that I love dearly, she said something to me that I didn't realize until I actually looked at the situation. She said, looking at your videos of how you used to talk about trying to conceive, and now you're just really on fire for the Lord. You're really on fire spreading the gospel. And I said to myself, wow, I never really looked at it like that. And I realized too, because there's another woman that I look at. She's called, I think it's Church in the Wilderness. But she's another woman who her husband had abandoned her. And when I tell you, like, the Lord has been giving this lady a lot of dreams and visions. And sometimes I ask, sometimes I say, even to myself, if I was with my husband at this time, would I be so bold and out and open with God? And I mean, I've always loved the Lord, but would I have been so bold? Honestly, I don't think I would be as I am right now. And let me tell you why. Because he comes from a family that are conservative. So a lot of the things that I would have done would have been to make sure where I'm not too in your face and we got to keep things a little whatever, because I wouldn't want my in-laws to look at this and may think that this is distasteful to them. But when God says, I don't want you in that box, I want to use you for this right here, because this is where I need you at this moment. Because if you're over there, then you won't be able to do things the way I want you to do it. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? It's like you have the freedom to do what you want. Later on, I'm praying and asking God, for my own home, and I want to be able to throw nice cookouts, pumping my music the way I want to do it, invite the people over the way I want to do it. But I realized that when we were in that house, as beautiful as it was, I still didn't feel like I was the woman of my own home, because my in-laws were always coming over. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta have things this way and that way because they may not like it. You know what I mean? And when you start living a life like that, you have no freedom to be your own person, to the point where what you need to say, you're not saying it because you feel like, what if I offend them if I say this? So I look at that, because now, when you look at my old videos back in the day when I was really like, y'all, we need to really profess the Lord. Now I'm like, get your houses in order, get up. You know what I'm saying? I'm more like, like, which way am I supposed to go? Okay, I think I'm supposed to get off on this exit. Is it that exit, Mona? No, I think it's the other exit. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. So, yeah, so I know in everything we ought to always be in right with God, no matter how hurt we feel. Because vengeance is mine, says the Lord, and my way and your way of doing things, it's not gonna, it's not gonna justify. I think too that when we're hurt about certain stuff, When people do us wrong, we just, we can go all over the place. But in everything, we need to also have composure and just know that God has us. I'm not saying I didn't know that the Lord has me, but in everything, you still need to be Christ-like, should I say. In everything, you still need to be Christ-like. But yeah, so going back to, let me get over. Going back to Christmas, y'all, I'm so looking forward to it. And I'm also looking forward to Symphony opening up her gifts. I'm also looking forward to the new year. So whatever's going to happen after the 4th, I'm looking forward to it. I think I've lived in fear for the last 2 years. And, like Job said, what I feared has come upon me, but I don't want to live like that. I was living in fear of losing the home that we had over our heads. That happened. I lived in fear of losing my favorite cat camera. That happened. I lived in fear with I remember before then I lived in fear of losing Harmony. That happened. Yes, so you're absolutely right. Sometimes we do need to let go. Thank you, sis. I know you're enjoying that weather in Florida. Thank you. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Sometimes we do need to let go. But I'm going to honestly tell you, sisters, that I have let go. That's why I'm so excited about what God has for me next, I hope it's not no horrible mountain. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like my first mountain was trying to conceive, trying to have a baby. Am I going the right way? Yeah, my first mountain was trying to have a baby. And when I look at Symphony, I'm like, thank you so much, Lord, because I had this little precious bundle of joy right here. And my second mountain was losing my husband. And I'm sure out of this, a lot of joy is still going to come because, losing a failed marriage. And I just hope, I'm like, Lord, please don't let this next mountain be horrible. Please. Just please. But y'all, I thank y'all so much for the encouraging words. Where I'm at right now is that I'm not bitter about it anymore, and I'm just I'm just looking forward to just the exciting things that God has in store. You know what I'm saying? And I'm also looking for, I just feel like this, that whatever the devil took from me, the Lord is going to give me. But he's keeping me right now, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for that. When my folks left, y'all, I lived in fear in that house. And I didn't realize how much fear I was. I was in so much fear, but God removed me, because once he puts you on a different field, you're able to do what you need to do. And now, even to the point where it's just like the whole separation, the whole divorce, I'm just, life is not just about marriage. Although it is a wonderful thing, there are other things in life, and I'm so grateful that I'm out of it. You know what I mean? It could be sad, and I know, now I'm celebrating it, when at first I was crying and mourning it. But now I'm just like, let's do this. I know as a Christian and as a wife, I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. And so I dust my feet off at the door, and I can say, I'm good. I'm good. Y'all, this is so funny. So the other day, I got home late. I had to park the car like 2 blocks up the street, right? And so I'm pulling over, and y'all know I don't wear my wedding ring anymore. I just don't. So I pull over, I'm getting the stuff out the car, and I'm asking these guys, I'm like, is my car going to be okay? Because I don't want them to ticket. They're like, oh, it's fine, it's fine. And then this guy, he's all like, how you doing? How you doing? I'm looking like, if you, I'm just thinking to myself, if you don't get away from me. And then he, he seemed like a very nice guy, very handsome guy too. And he's like, come on, let me take you out. No, thanks. And I think at that time I was in thought about a lot of things that happened. Maybe I was thinking about the court, or what happened in court before he approached me. And he was like, can I take you on a date? And I said, oh, I'm never going to date. And I said it with a smile. And he said, wait a minute, come on now, you got to let me take you out. I said, no, thanks. And so he was like, I said, look, you look like a nice gentleman. I'm sure you'll have a nice young lady, a nice woman that's out here waiting for you. And I think the way I said it, he looked at me, y'all, and he said, what did he do to you? I said, oh gosh. And usually I'm just like, oh, thank you so much, but no thank you, I'm fine. Sometimes I just carry it like that, but this one was like, oh no, oh no. But I realized, Mona, you need to take it down a notch, and it's not that serious. It's okay to be like, thank you, but no thank you, and that's it. But I don't know what y'all do, but I am so excited about the new year. I'm so excited I can't wait to see my mama on Christmas. I wanted to see my grandparents on Christmas, but there was a slight family feud. So I'm not going to be able to do that because I have to choose between, if I do something, then I get a chance to see my mama. But if I go over my grandparents' house, my mama like, I ain't for that. And I'm just like, ugh. And I said something to her too. I was like, you know what? Everything is so dysfunctional these days because my mother and my father are not married. I would like for one Christmas to have both of my parents there, but he has his own thing, she has his own thing. That's how the division of family, that's what happens when a divorce comes into play. It's just, you go to your mom's house on Thanksgiving, your dad's house on Christmas. It's just, so I'm looking forward to later on down the line, if the rapture don't happen. I want my own, spot, where big place where I can do my dinner parties and be like, this is what we're going, this is what I'm going to do. Nana, mommy, dad, this is the meeting here, I'm looking forward to that in the near future. I am. And I've always been that type of person that I really like big family functions and stuff. And so I'm looking forward to having my independence in that. And so that's what I'm focusing on right now. That's exactly what I'm focusing on. Yeah. I am so like, I'm really like, I'm just gonna do something. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm really looking for right now. So everything is about, like, for me, it's about rebuilding myself, and just staying focused and being positive. And I know sometimes it's the positive Patty, but really, to be honest with you, it's really not that hard to be positive Patty, It's really not, but there's so many great things to do, you know what I mean? There's so many great things to do, so I plan to just do them. So yeah, y'all. So what so it's true what they say: what don't hurt you won't kill you. You know what I mean? What don't kill you won't hurt you. That's how they say it. So the things that I was really afraid of, I'm like, that wasn't that bad, I remember one time, y'all, when I had my house, my first, when I was a first homeowner, I had to cut some limbs off a tree because my ex refused to do it. And so I said, well, I'll do it myself. So I climbed up this tree, y'all, and I realized while I was cutting the limbs off the tree that I was so high in the air, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm gonna hurt myself trying to jump down. My ankles won't be able to hold my legs. Like, you know, I was just thinking the worst. My feet, the bones in my feet are gonna shatter. Like, how did I get so high in this daggone tree? How? And so I'm just like, you know, I'm looking around. There's nobody around to help me, and I'm just in this tree. And y'all, I think I was like in my my mid-20s. So, you know, I'm thinking like, what can I do? You know, nobody's around. I didn't have no cell phone on me. And I'm like high in this tree, and I'm just like, this is going to hurt. This is really going to hurt. And I remember I held onto a branch, right? Now, I had to be like right here. Like, here I am up top, and here is the bottom. And so I was like, Lord, what am I going to do? I'm going to really hurt myself. And I'm thinking to myself, how did you get so far up in this tree? All because you had to prove, I can do this on my own. I don't need your help. And at that time I didn't, because he was lazy and trifling and wasn't trying to help. Some people like to see your stuff fall apart, and they don't want to help you with anything, and then they get upset when they see you doing it. So anyway, I'm hanging on I'm on this tree, and I decide to grab like a little limb, like a little branch. And I'm like, man, you know, I'm just bracing myself thinking, when I hit the ground, this is going to hurt. Y'all, I lie to you not. When I held on to that, when I held on to that little branch, the branch went like this. And it went all the way like to the ground. So it was like I just had a little ride down, and when I let go, it just bounced up. And I'm like, whoa. So, you know, I had to give that testimony to my best friend. She like, girl, the Lord was like, hold on, Mona, I got you. But I really thought that when I hit the ground, that impact was going to really mess my body up. And I was like, there's no way out of this. There's no way out of this. And God gave me that branch, and I just went down. And I have no idea how that branch went all the way back up like that. But guess what? It didn't hurt. I thought the impact was going to hurt me, and it didn't. So it's the same thing with my divorce. Like, I really thought, and you know, on the 4th, the judge already put in that, yes, it's a divorce. But I thought that was just going to hurt me. I thought I was going to be holding my heart. I thought I was going to go to convulsions, like, oh. But no, and I find myself being happy. People send their messages in all late. Now I found myself like, okay. I have a really good cousin, and she moved up here from Baltimore. She was in a very long-term relationship with her significant other, and come to find out with him, he was married before, and so what they went through was a hot mess, and she's still hurting. It hasn't, I think in April it'll be a whole year of her separation. And so she was just like, I don't understand. And I told her, like, look, you better be glad, because, and this is for single women who never been married before, who just got out of a relationship with somebody who had been married before. I told her, you know, I feel like you're still at the top of the food chain, because you can pick and choose if you know, with the next guy that you deal with, if that's the one you want to marry or be with for the rest of your life, or if you don't. I said, the thing is that because he was already married and had offended his first wife, it wasn't going to work with you, you know, and just thank your lucky stars, because now you know that everything that his ex-wife was saying, all of these things were true. But for you still have time to be married. You still have time to choose your one. Well, the man that findeth the wife finds you. I mean, a man that finds a wife find a good thing. So if a man comes your way, you can choose whether or not you want to be with him for the rest of your life. But darling, please, choose wisely. Choose very, very wisely. Do I regret my marriage? When I look at my daughter, Symphony, I do not regret my marriage at all. I look at her smiles and everything that she do. I can't imagine myself not having Symphony. I can't imagine myself not being the mother of my sweet promise, my baby Hans, my Harmony, my Melody. I can't imagine not having them, even though they lived for a couple of minutes, maybe an hour. I can't imagine not having them and experiencing them come into this world and then leave and go on to be with the Lord, because that let me know that life is so fragile. But God, I love him so much, because I still, when the Lord calls me home, I get a chance to see my children. And so I'm so grateful for them that are with the Lord, and I'm so grateful for my baby Symphony, who is here with me. So I don't regret that at all. I don't regret it at all. I don't. You know, sometimes when I get so frustrated and I catch myself, I wish I, no, 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 I can't say that. I can't say that. I can't say that. I think that we did, definitely, we had a wonderful, beautiful thing. But everybody's entitled to what they want to do in this life. So if you are so unhappy in your marriage and you don't want to be in it no more, and you don't want to work it out, and you decide that you would just rather live single and by yourself for the rest of your life, you have a choice to do that. And that was the choice that he made, and the choice was that I chose him to be my husband, knowing that we may come to where he doesn't want to do that. And I think that people need to understand that when it comes to a marriage, that you may be all the way in it, but the other person may not. But I told her that you better be glad, because unlike me, you are still able to go out here, and you may find that husband that God had lined up for you. You may find that, oh, I'm so happy. You're so happy that you dodged that bullet. You know, although you went through this process with this man and you gave so much to this man, but you may find that God intended for you to be with this man and for this man to be your husband. God may have said this too. God may have said, I want Mona and her husband to be married for a certain point of time, for them to have these babies and for them to have Symphony, and then I want him to be here and her to be here to do what I want them to do. I don't know. I don't know, but I will say, in the midst of the hurt and pain, that I have found happiness. I have found, what's the word? Where I'm comfortable. I'm content. You see what I'm saying? I'm content. And I'm realizing too that God didn't forget about me. God did not forget about me. I remember I was sitting there, and I'm sitting up here picking up somebody's Uber meal, and I'm like, Lord, what am I doing? Why are all of these things happening? All of a sudden something great happened, and I was just like, Father. He's like, Mona, I didn't forget about you. And so I was really like, wow. And so now I find myself looking at things, and I'm just like, you know, I'm so looking forward to what God is doing. I'm just so happy to be alive, and I'm just so happy to have my daughter. I'm so happy to have a roof over my head. I'm so happy to go and come as I please. And now, come January the 4th, this will all be over with. Like, I won't be dealing with court anymore. I've learned a lot of things, though. I learned not to be afraid of anything, I'll tell you that much. If I was ever afraid before, when I met my husband, when I first met him, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. I'm not afraid to speak up. I'm not holding it. I think at one point in time, certain things I wouldn't say. Now I'm like, excuse me? What? You know, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I used to be. What is he doing? What is this person doing? This person pulled up. I'm not moving. Yeah, but I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. yeah, so and you know, when I was speaking to my cousin, she was just like, you know, it's just the holidays are coming around, and you know, sometimes you just really, you want to be with someone. I'm like, girl, I was like, wait a minute, aren't you the same one? Because her folks, he used her so much that she was taking care of the bills and making sure he had his new Jordans and all of this, to the point she wasn't even able to do for herself. And one time we went out shopping, she said, this feels so good to be able to buy something for myself and don't have somebody in my ear saying, wait a minute, remember, we have to pay rent this month. Remember, I need some shoes and I need some Jordans. When she said that, y'all, I bust out laughing. And then when she said, you know, just sometimes, I said, wait a minute, didn't you just say it feel good to go shopping? I said, you better enjoy it. And I'm not sitting up here, I'm not by any means sitting up here and I'm downplaying for wives. I tip my hat off to you wives, you virtuous wives that wake up in the morning making sure your household is good to go and that your husband is looking fly, well dressed, and you're very respectful towards your husband. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work to shut your mouth when you know that your husband is in the wrong and you can't say nothing but you can't say nothing but say, yes, dear. Whatever you want, dear. You know what I'm saying? I tip my hat off to you virtuous women. You know? But I tell my cousin, you don't have to, like, you can wake up in the morning and say, I'm gonna go here today. I can say, I'm gonna spend this today. I don't have to wait on someone, even though it's a wonderful feeling when you're pleasing your husband. But it's also sometimes, you know, when your husband says, well, I don't want to go here today, and I'm like, well, I'll go by myself. Well, if you go, then they're going to make it look like, so then you can't go because he don't want to go, because he doesn't want to look like the oddball or the bad person because his wife went and he didn't go. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm not saying marriage is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It is absolutely, utterly wonderful. In a relationship, too, when you get in a relationship. And I told my cousin, like, you just got out of a relationship. And yes, you know, somebody new is going to come. But you don't want to open up a new door unless that old door was closed. You get what I'm saying? It needs to be closed, because what you're going to do is you're going to drag all that baggage of what he did into the new one and have this person listening to you like a psychiatrist, and then next you know, he done took on whatever because he's listening to your heartbreak because it is what this guy did. I said, you know, we are not in our 20s, you know what I'm saying? We are in our mid 30s right now. This is not the time to be messing up. If anything, get to know yourself, because some of us have been in relationships since we were like 13, 14 years old, and we never gave our time enough to know what our potential could be, because we were always searching for love. We were always trying to rectify ourselves through this particular person or how they make us feel, instead of having that one-on-one time with the Lord. Like I was telling my cousin, like, you know, you can sleep in the middle of your bed right now. You don't have to scoot over or set the time because this person is not. And there's nothing wrong with that. But enjoy your singleness. Enjoy your singleness. And, you know, but it is true, two is better than one. Two is better than one. When one fall down, the other can pick them up. But God has a way of protecting the widow, protecting the single, and protecting the fatherless too. So I'm at that. I think I'm at my stage now where I've always been in a relationship to a relationship to a relationship to a relationship to a relationship and a marriage. And now I'm just like, I'm doing me. And it goes even with dating. I'm not there with dating. I don't want to date. The only thing I'm focusing on is just trying to provide for my daughter. I want to try for the first time to focus on the things that I want out of life. so that I can do what I want to do. I don't want to, I remember when it used to be, I dated him because he had money, he had the cars, he had the real estate, and, you know, and then it was like, then I got to the point when I got, in my early 20s, I realized I can have this on my own. I can have my own deed and my own car and this and that. I don't have to rely on this person. And now I want to get to a point where I just feel like with my last two houses that I've had, it was like somebody always wanted to take them from me. And now I'm like, I want my own. I want it in my name. I want it on my own. That never again will you come around and say, I want it back, or I want you to sell it because I don't want it. I want my own. And so I'm just focusing on that. I want my own. I would love to throw lavish dinner parties and great parties and to be around friends and family, nieces, nephews, and to do my own thing without someone coming over and regulating, without me feeling like I have to put on a front or I have to fake because they're snooping around here and investigating how I'm keeping my household up. If y'all understand what I'm saying. So when I spoke to my cousin, I was like, girl, you just got out of the frying pan. You trying to land into the fire now? Can you just for once just focus on, I think if you focus on the things right now that you want, you would get those faster than focusing on being on a relationship. I mean, because with that, you have to find out what's the person's favorite color, what they like, what they don't like. And I'm going to tell you something, too. When you have a child, you ain't got time for that. Because like I said before, with me, you're not going to bring nobody new, or I'm not going to bring no man around my daughter, that's not her father. I'm not that type of woman. I was never raised like that. Even when my father left my mother, she never brought any man around us. She never ever did. It wasn't until I was probably like in my senior year, she had one friend. But then he was pretty cool. He was really nice. And then next you know, we ain't seen him no more because she just felt like he had a little bit of issues and she not about to try to fix that. So she started finding other things that she loved. I mean, my mother would travel and go places, and my father was just starting all over again with new kids. He couldn't really get out as much in vacation with his first wife because he was starting all over again. He was starting all over again. And so it's just, I'm to the point where I've learned things too in my marriage. I learned a lot of things about, just a lot of things in general, Yeah, it was messed up the things that he did. But like I said, I've forgiven that. I'm over it. It's cool. But I've learned a lot of things from him that I'm going to take along my way and along my journey while I'm raising my daughter, But going back to humility, I realized that I'm not worthy. I'm not. And I need the Lord to forgive me. So I definitely have to forgive those. But he's also taught me too that you need to watch what you say out your mouth, because even though that I look at both of y'all as being married, being one in one flesh, you have to remember to always to conduct yourself as a virtuous woman, as a loving woman, as a woman who loves Christ. You wouldn't, how can I say, you wouldn't rage on camera and say disrespectful things about Jesus Christ. So why would you say those things about your husband, even if they are true? And I'm like, but Lord, he said this and he did that. But what that got to do with you? But Father, they did this and they did that. But what that got to do with you? And I'm like, Then I was like, well, what would you do? And that's when I thought about the Lord being, when he died on the cross for us. And I'm like, dang, Lord, you are just wonderful. Like, you're just spotless. It's like, Jesus. But I don't want to be left behind because my heart is just like, Alpha, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be that way. I don't.
I'm human just like everyone else. You know, some y'all know how it is. Some days you have really, really, really great days, and then other days you just like, today's not the day for this. Look at that car. That's a, what is that? That's a Tesla? I want a Tesla. No, that's a Maserati. What is it? Sorry, y'all. I'm all looking at this car. What is it? You know, like, that'd be a good commercial. When you minding your business talking and be like, what is it? Y'all been seeing some really funny commercials. Have y'all been seeing that purple commercial with that purple bed? And the guy and the lady on it, and the lady like, oh yeah, it's our new purple and we really love it. And she's like, come on honey, let's go. And I'm like, y'all did a really good job with that, because it got my attention. But that was a really nice car. Sorry y'all, I'm like, what kind of car is it? They need to make a commercial like that. But yeah, so I was telling her, I'm like, getting back to my cousin, I was like, girl, we gonna have some fun. Money gonna have some fun. I'm gonna have some fun. I'm gonna have some fun. I'm gonna, Stephanie, we gonna have some fun. I'm gonna make sure to do some traveling, family time, partying. And I'm talking about good, clean partying. You know, I'm being around my dad, my mother, my grandparents, good family people. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and just being grateful just for the little things that I do have, and not looking back at the old things. When you start doing that, that's when you know that you're growing. When you stop pointing the finger at what everyone else is doing to you and start just spending time with the Lord and seeing what He's been doing for you, then you'll say, Dad, you know, what that thing, what I used to, what happened to me, that seems so far away. That was so long ago. I'm over it. And especially when I was looking at them old people, y'all, they were like 103 and 104. They was like, this lady 104 talking about, I still feel like I'm strong. I was like, for 104 and she still feel like this is, and they said, well, what age do you feel like you are? Well, I'm 100. I feel like I'm 70. I was like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? And I admire that. I really, really, really admire that. So, yeah, you guys, I really admire that. At an old age, you can look back and say, I have. And there's one thing she said too, that she said she has no regrets. She has no regrets. You know, when my husband left, he said something. He said, no regrets, no regrets. I think that he will regret it, you know. I won't, because I prayed and fought and did what I was supposed to do. And now, just like David, now it's time to party. Now it's time to do what we need to do, you know. Now it's time to prepare. Now I can say, y'all, my other video, please forgive me, because although I was telling y'all the truth, it's a way that I should have been saying, or certain things I said was a little bit disrespectful. It was. So please forgive me for that. You should not, wives, you should not ever be disrespectful towards your husband, and even on film or even out in public. It's just a level of respect. And the Lord pointed that out. So please forgive me for that. Please forgive me for that. But yeah, y'all. I don't. Oh yeah. So you know, I'm trying to figure out some of the things of what I'm going to give Symphony for Christmas. And so I'm just trying to figure out, like, they have these new, I think I'm going to get her that Baby Alive doll. She's into doll babies now. And let me tell you what she likes to do. She likes to take a piece of cloth and she likes to put it down and she likes to fold it. And she likes to fold. She feels like, I can control this cloth. And I'm like, look at you folding stuff. And I'm like, let me see what you're doing. And I'm going to tell you something else too. She went from, now, she says auntie all the time. Auntie, 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 auntie. I'm like, Okay, she said, auntie, auntie. And when her aunt walked in the house, auntie. I'm like, oh, she knows that word very, very good. Um, so yeah, she likes to do what she wants to do. And sometimes I find, y'all, being a mother is so awesome. Sometimes I find myself snickering because she'll be looking at her shows. She may cross her legs and just be looking at her shows, or she's so observant, or she'll kind of push me out the way like, Mom, move. I'm looking at my shows, and I'm like, you only 2 years old, like, really? So I really enjoy her, and I be thinking to myself, like, sooner or later, you're going to be going to school. I just say, let me just enjoy this moment right now. I'm enjoy this moment right now. And it's a joy when I go pick her up from daycare, and she just start running around like, Mom, look at me, look at what I'm doing. And I'm like, Siphies, what are you doing? Like, I love that. Or, it's just like, I thank God. I remember when I was crying and looking out the window and everybody else had babies and I didn't. And now I'm looking at her like, Lord, like, she is here. She is here. And she's just my little, I remember when I was in my feelings about the situation that was going on, and she's just smiling and she don't care. I'm thinking to myself, like, she doesn't care. You know what I'm saying? Kids, they don't care. It was a point where, when we were at our old place, we had nice furniture set, and some of that pretty much had to be gone and had to be let go. And so Symphony has her own crib, but I had a blow-up bed, and I was laying on that for a couple of months, but it just seemed like every other month I had to keep turning it in or getting a new one because the bed will get a hole in it. And I got to the point, I'm like, I don't feel like doing all of this. Plus, I heard that it's okay to sleep on the ground. So I would pad the bed up with covers and more covers and more covers and be comfortable. And I'll have the sheet, and when I would put the sheet up, Symphony would just be laughing and joking, and she's just like, oh, and I'm thinking to myself, I can't believe I'm laying on this daggone floor, and Symphony's just like, oh, look at this. And I'm like, kids don't even care, you know what I'm saying? But I'm so grateful for that, because kids, they just look at the most wonderful things that's going on around you, while you just like, I can't believe because of him I have to go through this. So I'm just so grateful for her. I am. So I have a lot of things to be grateful for. You got some people that stay in huge houses and they're lonely. You got people who are searching for things and they'll never be able to find it. And I'm just so happy, because I'm so happy. I'm just so happy to be a mom. I am. So if you're still trying for a baby, never give up. I was told by a doctor, sorry, but you're never going to be able to carry full term. Now I see my 2-year-old jumping off the walls. And I say, Siphies. Y'all, let me tell you something else she does to me. And let me say this real quick before I go in this place. I sometimes pick her up, right? And she would literally put her feet on my shoulders and stand straight up, and I'm like, no. So I'm holding her hand, trying to get her to come down, and she done locked her legs like, no, I'm not coming down. You're gonna have to hold me up. And she's standing straight up and down on my shoulders, and I'm laughing so hard, like, Siphies, come down. And she's like, no, I'm not coming there. Could you imagine your child just puts their feet, you're holding them like this, and they put their feet and she stands up, and I'm trying to get her to come down, and she's just like laughing, and I'm like, get down. Oh my gosh. And I'm trying to balance her while she's on my shoulders, cracking up laughing. Like, I thank God for those times. And it's just so wonderful. It's so wonderful. I want more children. I do. Later on down the line, once I get situated or whatever, I would like to do foster care. You know, I do want more children. I love babies, and I thank God for Symphony. Like, she really puts me on my toes. She does, and now she does this thing with my hair where she'll put her hands and try to do something to my hair, or if I'm laying down, she'll just pounce all on me and just be doing what she wants to do, and just, you know. But I thank God for my daughter. I really do. I really, really do. I thank God for the time that I have with her. I just, you know, I'm very, very grateful for that. I am. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my friends, and I'm even grateful for you guys. I am. I don't have any I'm not bitter. I don't have any regrets at all with my marriage. No regrets at all. No regrets at all. You know, I have no regrets. And I think that's what people want you to do. People want you to walk away, and they think that you're going to be like, but when you walk away with a smile on your face, sometimes they be like, why, how could she still be smiling after all the things that happened? Because I found that it's better to be happy than be mad. It is. It's better to just rejoice than be upset, you know. But anyway, y'all, I will speak to y'all later, and I hope y'all have a blessed day today, okay?